All right, Coach, man, here we go. I don't know if you're familiar with this old guy. He's actually not old anymore. He's actually passed away. Rest in peace. But it was the evangelist Billy Graham.
Yes.
And he had this saying. He said, a coach will impact more people in 1 year than the average person will in an entire lifetime. So I like to take Billy Graham's quote and I like to put a layer on it and say that a good coach will positively impact more people in 1 year than the average person will in one lifetime. My name is Coach P. I'm the host of the Coaches Co-op podcast, and I'm excited about highlighting the unsung heroes. I'm talking about the good coaches who dedicate their time, their energy, and sometimes even their money into pouring into young people day after day, month after month, and year after year. So today I got a good coach. All right. Today's guest is a Gulf Coast / West Coast guy. All right. Born and raised in New Orleans, but he averaged a cool 26 points per game his senior year in Rialto, California, where he was the Sunkist League MVP,
Yes.
third team All State, and first team All County. But let me add some layers onto that. Let me tell you what else he's done. All right. Today's guest has helped over 60 athletes move on to the next level. All right. In 2020, he became the program director for Houston United. All right. Before that, he was the program director for Texas Elite Adidas Houston from 2012 to 2019. While he was there, he got a 2018 Adidas National Championship and a 2019 Final Four appearance at the Adidas National Championships. This brother is out there working, y'all, but I'm not done. I got more. All right. So prior to that, he founded the Cy-Fair Heat in 2009, where he coached the 2010 sixth grade team to a top 10 finish. And then in 2011, he backdoored and had the seventh grade national championship runners up. So hooping is in his blood, no matter what coast he's on, Gulf Coast, West Coast. I want y'all to welcome Coach Chuck McCown. Coach, how are you
I'm
today?
doing well. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Definitely appreciate your time, as I told you before. So, Coach, we dive right in. So, the first thing I want to ask is, why coaching? What was it that led you into coaching, and how old were you when you knew you wanted to coach?
Well, what led me into coaching was actually my college roommate, Lateef Clark. So Lateef played at PV, and he and I, we remained friends from that time. So in 2008, he said, "Hey, I think you need to I think you need to coach these boys, sixth grade group at that time." And so I began coaching a select group of kids, but and it just turned into fun at that time. It turned into fun for me. But coaching was never a passion of mine at all. So I was strictly playing, like rec league, played YMCA, Fundy here, Emancipation Park, and Third Ward. So I was just playing in leagues all over. So I never wanted to be a coach, never at all. So it just turned into my love for playing turned into like a development aspect for certain kids. So I can go out to a park and I look at a kid play. Oh, you need to work on his footwork or the shooting aspect, the ball handling. So it kind of led me from that aspect. So when I actually started coaching, I was, um, let's see, I would say 14 years, so 35, 35, 35. Yes, 35.
Okay, so looking at your bio, you've been at it for a few years now.
Hmm. Yes.
You've been at it for a few years now. So there's been a taking to it
Oh, for
apparently.
sure. For sure.
Okay. So what is, if you could, put your finger on one or two things that have made you stick with it over the last 10, 14, 15 years, what would you say?
Well, I'll rewind a little bit. I actually got after Lateef told me about the boys and I started helping the boys, my daughter decided to play. She wanted to jump into it, to basketball. And this is her seventh
Okay.
grade year. So
Okay, I was gonna ask, that question was coming. How did you get into coaching girls?
Yeah,
But go
so
ahead.
it was my daughter. My daughter, we had her, my wife and I had her in tennis. So I really wanted her to play tennis, but she was like, "Well, Dad, I want to try out for the basketball team out here in Cyprus." So uh, we started, working on ball handling. All we did was layups, ball handling, passing, and shooting. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing in between. It was just that. So she made the B team her seventh grade year. The next year, she made the eighth team, and it was just night and day. She really took a liking to the game, and so from there, for after I coaching the boys, I just decided to just form a program, and that's when I formed the Sci-Fair Heat.
All right, so you start the Sci-Fair Heat, um, and then from Sci-Fair Heat you go to Texas Elite. So what made you stick with it, Coach?
So what made me stick with it was this: I saw the success that I was having from the Sci-Fair Heat, and by us doing well in the AAU National both years, we had more kids from the city and the area start coming out to practices, and they wanted to be a part of the team. So, I started off with two teams: my daughter's team and a boys' team. So I started off with two, and within a year, we grew to 11. So it was four girls teams and seven boys teams. So and I saw the success that the kids were having. Um, and then all of a sudden, I started getting really good kids, and the big name programs started coming after me. Hey, well, why don't you bring your kids over here? Um, we can, you can run the Houston program. We love what you're doing as far as development goes. So that's what I did. I went over to the bigger organization, a little bit more exposure for some of the girls at that during that time. But I saw being with the program, you see some of the dynamics and how things run. So every Texas League was based out of Bryan College Station, but they had teams in Dallas as well. So like I said, I ran the Houston program, and it was really under Joey Simmons. Joey Simmons now has Team Lex out in the Dallas and Oklahoma area. Really good guy. Um, so the, the I saw kids gain a lot of confidence from the development and playing, and some of them realizing that they could play at the next level. So my joy and passions, really it really built, the fire inside of me to help not the underprivileged kids, but the kids that didn't have the confidence to move forward because I was that same kid in high school. I'm the quiet kid off of the court, on the court, totally different person. So it's like flipping on that light switch, and I saw that in other players that I was working with. So that's kind of why I really stuck with it all of this time. And I've seen the game grow from skill and development to, and it's good and bad, to the exposure part. And some kids and parents want exposure before they have the development, and that's backwards to me. It is exposure comes with a with a price tag on it, whether it's good or bad. So that's what I like about it.
So I want to ask you
Mhm,
this. I want to ask you this question. So started off with two teams, a boys team and a girls team. 1 year, boom, it explodes.
mhm.
So in your opinion, is the area oversaturated? Do we have too many programs? Because and I'm asking that question, just looking at, man, the tremendous growth. But then also when I go out, to watch kids play, and there'll be other teams playing in the tournament. And this happened this year. I'm watching a team warm up, and they must have been a middle school level team.
Mhm.
Um, and those kids weren't ready to play. They should not have been in that tournament. And this is when the tournament that you guys had over um across from Westfield. What's the name of the
MI3.
facility over there? At MI3, right? So these kids are warming up on the court. Got to be a middle school age group. And there was one kid that I was like, that kid could probably play in this competitive environment. But all the rest of the kids, they didn't need to be out there,
Hmm.
right? And in my mind, in my opinion, that's like, okay, there's too many
Hmm.
programs. There's too many programs because these kids aren't. They're obviously not ready to be out here.
Right.
So what's your thought on that?
So to answer that question, yes, there are too many teams. It is oversaturated, but the program directors, you have to have a vision in mind and you have to have a lane. So I can't be upset for somebody who wants to form an organization, but you have to understand the type of players that you're going to get. What's your overall goal for the program and your overall goal for that particular, all of those players. So you have to have a lane. Um, some people want to test the waters. You might have a developmental program that wants to jump into a mainstream type tournament or event, and you can clearly see that they're not ready. So now you got to go back to the drawing board, or you're going to lose some of those kids and players for whatever reason. So you do have to understand your lane and what's your goal. Um, like I said, I've been from the development, just like you were saying, Molly Wop. I mean, our very first tournament that my daughter played in, we lost to the Sci Shock, and I remember it like yesterday, 47-4. We could barely get the ball across half court. So I said, look, you guys can play, but you have to understand how to play. And so that's the thing. You have to do everything together. You know what I'm saying? Like from the development aspect, you have to make sure that you understand how to coach a kid. You have to understand their personalities because you can't, being a coach, you can't coach everybody the same. You can have certain conversations and how you talk to them. And so it's very much oversaturated, but you have to understand your lane.
That's good. That's good. So when you say understanding your lane, two things, two questions I want to
Hmm.
ask. How do so let me give a scenario. So every time I get to this time of the year, I say, you know what, man, I'm gonna get back into coaching, you know, outside of basketball season, and I just want some young
Hmm.
kids. I want some babies, and I want to teach them how to dribble. I want to teach them how to use the correct foot when they're shooting,
Hmm.
especially layups.
Hmm.
Um, and then, just little things like that. I just want a group of
Right.
babies, and then I we don't even have to go play. I don't need a
Right.
team. We don't even have to go play. I just want to
Hmm.
teach. So like that would be, I think, my lane,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So when you talk about lanes, talk about some of the different lanes that different programs have. I guess talk about yours first.
Okay. Starting with mine. So I have different type of teams. I have a developmental team, so to speak. I have a competitive team. I have an elite team. So I'm
Hmm.
not going to take a developmental team and place them in an elite type environment because they won't survive at all. Do they need to see it? Yes, they need to see it, but at the same time, I'm not going to crush their confidence. So
You're
and
right.
there's
Right.
certain tournaments that they can play in, and there's certain so those lanes you got development type tournaments, and you have to be around to understand that. So who hosts certain tournaments, what type of teams that they have, and the teams that they bring in. So development, I'm going to keep them over here. The competitive, I'm going to keep here, and the elite, I'm going to keep here. Sometimes I can merge the competitive with some of the elite so they can actually get a feel for it. Because what we're trying to do is we're
Hmm.
trying to help you, in the fall and the winter, going into the spring, we're trying to help you, with your teams. It's not so much about me. Of course, do I want to help some kids be seen by college coaches? Yes, I do. And I also understand some are not ready to be placed in front of a college coach. So I'm not going to put them in that environment. Um, and some kids may not desire to play at the next level. Some kids just want to, some kids do the friend thing. Well, my friend is playing, so I want to play. Some want to just get better for their high school team, and that's fine. And some really want to play at the next level. So it's sort of like you have to separate you can't have that entire mixture together because you'll be all over the place. So you're going to have your elite player
Yeah.
fussing at a developmental player who really doesn't care about playing at the elite level. Then you got somebody that's competitive but not really wanting to play at the college level. They just want to be good to get minutes at the high school level. So I kind of separate it that way.
That's good. That's good. And that's actually good insight
Hmm.
that I think comes with experience, because when you're fortunate enough on the high school level, you get kids like that as
Hmm.
well. When you're
Yes.
fortunate enough to have kids who may be good enough to play
Hmm.
on the next level,
Hmm.
because that's
Right.
happened. That's happened. I've been fortunate to have kids like that.
Hmm.
And practice, woo. Sometimes it's hard to
Right.
get, you know, that kid who's going to get the opportunity to play on the next level to understand,
Mhm.
that, hey, everybody is not you.
Right.
Everybody doesn't have your passion. Everybody doesn't have your
Right.
drive. So that's that managing,
Yes.
managing of the
Yes,
egos.
exactly. So I'll go back and add with the other programs that I've seen. So some of the bigger elite programs, the Nikes and Adidas, the Under Armour, some of the top independent programs, some develop, some don't. Some will take just the best kids around the city, put them in a gym, put them on a team, and get out, roll the ball out, let them play. They might give them sets, and they're supposed to understand how to play within that set, but that's the wrong way. To me, you have to still teach the game, because what I try to do is, being from Louisiana, you got to have a roux for gumbo, right? So
That's right.
bad roux, you throw it out. You don't want anybody to taste it, right? A good roux, you can place that anywhere. So if they decide to leave me, they can go to another program and may shine at that other program. But they have the base, their foundation. So that's what I look at, always
Yeah,
creating their foundation and their base, and they can go anywhere. But
that's
yeah,
good.
some of those
That's
other elite teams, they just pull in players and they don't develop. Um, which kind of it's a disservice to me, because at the next level they won't understand terminology, they won't understand how to play help defense, they don't understand the gaps, it just a lot of stuff, a lot of basketball stuff. It's just in how to be a good teammate and a role player, because just because you average 20 in high school doesn't mean you're going to have 20 in college, because they may need you for defensive purposes, just to run the team and get the ball to four other all Americans out on the floor. So you just parents have to be very careful about what they're doing, and understand the environment that they're getting in, the people that they're putting them around.
That's good. That's good. Every January, when we're getting close to the end of our high school season, I have a what's next meeting,
Hmm.
on one of our Saturday mornings. And, in that what's next meeting, we talk about, kids who want to play select ball.
Hmm.
And because where I am now, when I first got here, we had, true story, like two kids
Hmm.
that played select basketball in the whole
Wow.
program. So in order to be good in Houston, in order to compete in Houston on the 6A level, kids got to play.
Hmm. Sure.
Kids have to play. So we have this meeting, and I try to educate my parents on that.
Hmm.
Like, hey, so you got to understand that it's not high school, it's different.
Hmm.
um but go shop around, go to
Hmm.
tryouts, go and see what you like, go and ask
Right.
questions, because ultimately the ultimate thing I tell my parents is it's going to be a financial commitment more than likely,
Right.
unless you got that kid,
Right.
right?
Right.
um so go and shop around, because ultimately what you want is you want your kid to develop. You want your kid to develop. You want your kid to get reps. I've been in a gym before, going to watch, some of my kids practice. This is a few years back. And I go in the gym and there's one court, and I swear to you, coach, it's 120 kids in there
Hmm.
on one floor. And I'm like, man, this is not good,
Right.
because they're not getting
Right.
reps. They're not getting reps. So this is one of the things I do, coach. Um, I encourage my kids to go and play
Hmm.
for somebody else. Go and play for somebody else that's not named Coach P or Coach Harris.
Hmm.
Go get coached by somebody else. Y'all don't have to play together in the summer. I know there are some high school coaches
Mhm.
who like their kids to play together. I'm, that's not really
Right.
me. Y'all don't have to go and play together, but go get coached, go get better, go somewhere that you're going to get
Mhm.
reps. And then I open the gym every day and I tell them, hey, if you're not playing, if that's not within your family's budget, then you need to be in here every day.
Mhm.
So I
Okay.
try to give the kids a combination of both. So I
Yes.
said all that to lead into this. How can we, as high school coaches and AAU coaches, how can we work better to serve our kids, whether they're just trying to be a good high school player or if they're trying to be a kid who can go and play on the next level? Because here's what I know. If I was a college coach, I wouldn't be driving around, flying around America, going to all these high school gyms. I'd get on the road in July, or I'd get on the road in March, or now we got June with
Mhm.
TABC, and then that's what I would do. So
Mhm.
for kids that are going to get the chance to play on the next level, summer ball makes
Yeah.
sense. So how can we better work together as high school coaches and AAU coaches to better help all of our kids?
So I think not so much a solution, but maybe an idea is to have going back to summer league play where something similar to like the TABC deal, but more on a weekly basis, maybe like two times out of the week if kids aren't like quote unquote playing in a major summer circuit where they can just get in the gym, work on their skill, and also work on the team environment or just players just in general where they don't have to be coached. They have to learn how to play with one another. And so they can utilize that during the summer, throughout the summer, where it's like no stress, no strain. You don't have to practice a bunch of times. Just come in and play. And by the time they get back to school, if they play with some of their teammates, they'll understand their strengths and weaknesses. Um, you can recognize those things. I can recognize them and let them work on those things, try to strengthen them up and build them up, those type of ways. But I think at the end of the day, we have to understand each other's goals. Your time frame, like I respect the high school season altogether, so I'm not trying to host a practice, you know, throughout the year. From once we shut down in July or August, September, late mid September, October, skill work. That's it. Just skill. Just come in, do some skill stuff, get a lot of shots up. That's it. Um, and I think just like you go out and support your kids. So I think that's the big thing. But if club directors and also high school coaches talk about the kids that they have, or I got a couple of your kids, so I understand. I've come to see your games. I watch them, understand what they can do, what they could be doing better. And then I analyze that high school game, and then I'll try to implement that if they come over, and do a workout, or if they're playing with me. Hey, this is what we're going to focus on. So by the time you get back to school, it's not so much thinking. Now you can react. You've seen it before. So I think it's just the communication between the two, between high school and club coaches.
Definitely needs to happen. And so, as a high school coach, I mean, I coached summer ball. I did that, man, maybe 5, 6, 7 years, maybe.
Hmm.
But I was a high school coach most of that time, right? So I kind of went into it with a different mindset,
Hmm.
right? Because I was a high school coach for most of the years that I was coaching summer ball. But man, I've run into high school coaches who like hate summer ball, like they hated AAU, and I didn't understand that. Now I'm gonna tell you, I'm a full disclosure. There's one thing that I hate about summer ball, coach, and you are not guilty of this. So I do have to say
Okay.
this. Man, I hate getting robbed at the door when I go to watch my kids play. Oh man. I'll be like, oh, got robbed at the door again. Man, that listen. That is the only thing. Look, I'm gonna say this right now because this will be on YouTube and you can listen to it and all of that. So I'm gonna look directly into the camera. AAU coaches, if any of our kids play for you, you don't have to buy tickets to come to our games. Just shoot me a text.
Mhm,
Just shoot me a text and I got you.
mhm.
So I hope that you would return the favor when I come to watch my kids when they playing for y'all. That's all. That's all I got to say
Whew,
right there.
man, yeah.
That's all I got to say.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I've seen it. I've heard the horror stories. I mean, I witnessed it. But I do understand. I get it. I get it. But at the same time, you should be able to. It's a couple of dollars. Your salary's in a couple of dollars. Why not?
Yeah.
Let them come and see. You come in and watch the kids play. It's not a problem. You're not losing anything. If anything, you establish a better line of communication and a better relationship with them. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard
Yeah.
I've heard about the stories.
But listen, coach, you are not listen, y'all. I'm telling y'all right now, Coach Chuck, he a real one. He's a real one. He'll let you know. Boom, we're hosting this tournament. Go ahead and this is how you sign up. Go ahead and sign up,
That's right.
and you can get in
Oh
free.
yeah, for
So
sure,
it's real,
for
y'all.
sure.
All right, coach. Let me do this real quick before we talk a little more
Okay,
basketball. So listen, y'all, if you're watching on YouTube, y'all do me a favor. Y'all go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Then there's that little notification bell. Y'all hit that little bell so when new episodes come out, you can get the notifications. If you're listening on Spotify, share it with somebody. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, y'all go ahead and give us that 5-star rating. I truly, truly appreciate it. All right, coach, man, let's talk a little more basketball. So just from the conversation, I know that you're a player development guy,
hmm
right? And you were obviously a hooper, all state in the state of
hmm
California. So, um, man, what were your days like as a player?
as a player. So I come honestly from my family, the basketball family, right? So my aunts and my on my dad's side, not my mom's side, there's really no athletes over there. But on my dad's side, it's from a small East Texas country town, Chevyville, Texas. Red dirt, Center Texas, San Augustine, all of that stuff. Red clay dirt, no street lights, that type of stuff. Fishing, that's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
their country, right? Country, but I love them to death. So all they did was play basketball. My aunts were better players than my dad. So my aunts were playing basketball when it was 3-on-3 half court. There was no full court basketball during that time.
yeah.
And
They
so,
play offense on one end,
yes,
and three other people play
on the
defense
other
on the other
side,
end.
correct. And
Yeah,
so
lot of people don't know
they
about that.
sure don't. So I had two aunts that were number one. Let me go back. It's 17 of aunts and uncles that my dad had. So he had 17, 16 brothers and sisters. So 11 of them played ball. Yeah,
Wow.
11 played ball. So my grandfather had a wood mill that he owned out there. So that's pretty much, it was a family business. So they got involved with basketball. So he taught them, number one, work ethic. Don't accept handouts. You have to get out there and you got to work. So my aunts, they were really good. My dad played. My uncles played. So my dad really was the only one that played out of high school going into college. So he played at Xavier University in New Orleans. And he had an opportunity to
The
go,
gold
yeah, the
rush.
Gold Rush. And my mom originally from New Orleans, so that's where she went. She went as well. She went to Xavier Prep High School and then Xavier University. So when I used to come out here to Houston every summer, um, I just my dad was a car salesman, so I just used to stay at home and I just used to dribble the ball up and down the street, up and down the street. When he gets off work out, he'll take me to the park. We'll shoot around. So one summer he just had a backyard court built, one goal. So everybody in the neighborhood used to come in that backyard. So it was plenty of one-on-one battles during the summer. So every day is basketball. We're talking about all day long. So during that time, there's no trainers. You have to get out there and you got to figure out what works, what doesn't work. And let me try this move. So that's what today's kids don't have. They don't have any, don't accept handouts. You have to get out there and you got to work. So my aunts, they were really good. My dad played. My uncles played. So my dad really was the only one that played out of high school going into college. So he played at Xavier University in New Orleans. And he had an opportunity to
The
go,
gold
yeah, the
rush.
gold rush. And my mom originally from New Orleans, so that's where she went. She went as well. She went to Xavier Prep High School and then Xavier University. So when I used to come out here to Houston every summer, um, I just my dad was a car salesman, so I just used to stay at home and I just used to dribble the ball up and down the street, up and down the street. When he gets off work out, he'll take me to the park. We'll shoot around. So one summer he just had a backyard court built, one goal. So everybody in the neighborhood used to come in that backyard. So it was plenty of one-on-one battles during the summer. So every day is basketball. We're talking about all day long. So during that time, there's no trainers. You have to get out there and you got to figure out what works, what doesn't work. And let me try this move. So that's what today's kids don't have. They don't have an imagination, right? So
Man,
out in
none at all,
out
coach.
in Cali, there was a park right around the corner from my house. So I would get up about 8 o'clock, 8 a.m., and I'd go play for about 5 hours straight. So on one side of the court is Magic Johnson. On the other side of the court, it's Isaiah Thomas. And we're one on one. I'm playing one on one, with myself. And on this side, I can only do layups. On this side, I can only shoot jumpers off the glass. So I take a lunch break and I'll go right back. And I stay to about 7 or 8 o'clock, and then I go back home. So this is every day. So that was a development. I developed myself. Like my dad only told me pointers. This is what you do. You got a double team. You try to split the double team this way. This is how you make a post entry pass. So it was just small stuff, but everything else I did on my own. I did on my own, and I had to figure it out by playing against the best. So I was trying to play against the best. So if there was a name out there, I was going to look for that particular person. You know, here you used to go, you and your boys used to go, your friends used to go from park to park, neighborhood to neighborhood to find the best game. So basically, that's what I did around Cali. So I was always head hunting, and like I said, it just became a passion just to play. But coaching was still never in my. It was an afterthought. I wasn't even thinking about coaching because I was just a player. A coach who design a play or tell me about a play. Now I need the end result. Just let me get the ball in my hands and I'll figure it out from there. So I never was receptive to running these plays. And then my coach at that time, he was a big Jerry Tarkanian fan. So everything UNLV did, he tried to implement in the high school. So out of that 26 points that I averaged, I only played on the left side of the floor. I never went to the other side of the floor unless I just ran the baseline, just by coincidence, running the baseline. So all my 26, if they didn't come off, half of them came off steals and layups. But in the half court set, everything was done on the left side of the floor. So defensively, when we score, I'm already set for a trap, and we ran a three guard offense. So of course, point guard, he was up on the ball. I was on the wing trapping, and then the other off guard. So I was the three. So the other two guard was on the right side. So that's how he had point guards in the middle, threes on the left, twos on the right. So it was just wild, but um, it was just a lot of basketball being played. One-on-one basketball, a lot of park, recreational basketball, not a lot of structure. Yeah.
Coach, we have to, this is something that I've learned as a coach, that we have to manufacture imagination.
Hmm.
Like I talk about, so I got this pillar right outside my room right here. And I tell my kids all the time, I'm like, man, that pillar has seen so many crossovers, combo dribble moves, and spin moves. And they be like, what? I'll be like, yes. I say, so the things that we come in here and work on,
Hmm.
I'm playing against that pillar in my
That's
house.
right.
I'm using that pillar as
That's right.
leverage. So, and I have to, we have to teach kids
Hmm.
to manufacture that
That's
imagination.
right.
And then you said one other thing that we have to teach kids how to do as well. And that's, man, find those names, play the
Hmm.
best. Play, you want to play against the best. You always want to test yourself. So I was like that as a player. And I wasn't a great player. I was a good
Hmm.
athlete, but I wasn't, a great player. I actually played baseball in college.
Okay.
I wasn't a hooper. I could jump and run, but don't ask me to go between behind the back. No, man, that thing going out of bounds all day, you know. But I always wanted to play the
Hmm.
best. So I've taken to that as a coach, like,
Hmm.
man, let's go and play, let's go play a tough schedule,
Hmm.
And when when I got to where I am now, that first year, man, we played the heavy hitters because I thought we had a chance to be really good
Hmm.
going into the, end of the year
Right.
playoffs. And when I tell you those kids was looking at me like, man, another tough game. So
That's right.
but we're trying to build a kennel.
Hmm.
That's what I tell other people. We're trying to build a kennel.
Hmm.
We're trying to raise dogs around
Right.
here. So,
Right.
um, all right, Coach. But we're coming towards the end.
Okay.
But before we get there, I want to ask you one other thing.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to work out with Coach Chuck today.
Hmm.
All right. So what am I in for? What am I in for if I'm going to work out with Coach Chuck today?
So the first the first time coming in, we're gonna do a lot of things footwork related because footwork is the foundation of everything: ball handling, shooting, defense, just a lot of that stuff. And a lot of just believe it, a lot of kids really don't know how to play low or stay low. Everything standing up. They don't really utilize a pivot or reverse pivot. Just just a lot of stuff. So we're gonna do some things footwork related, not heavy ball handling. I just have to kind of see where they are as far as ball handling and as far as shooting goes. Now, if the shooting is bad, like form, they're facing the sideline, the basket is over here, and they're shooting this. We have to start working on shooting. We're not. I won't touch anything else. So we're going to work on shooting. But somebody with a little skill, we're going to go ahead and do, you know, 2 foot finishes in the paint, different type of finishes, reverse, left hand, right hand, and we're gonna do heavy left hand if you're not, if you're a right-handed player. If you're a left-handed player, we're gonna do heavy right. So just a lot of fundamental mechanics on shooting, and then from there, we spend about 10 minutes on ball handling, 15 minutes on the footwork, about 15 minutes on shooting, and passing is things that I love to do as well to work with a lot of kids. Passing left hand, right hand, different type of passes that they should utilize. So that's what we would do. If you're coming in to work out, and but a lot of that, it's a lot of movement involved, and so your conditioning is also in there as well. I just won't stop a workout and say, "Hey, go give me a suicide," or "You do such and such 17s" or something like that, because it's a lot of movement in my workouts.
That's a good workout. That's a good workout because that's how the game is played.
Hmm. That's right.
You're not running unless you just turning the ball
Yeah,
over all game. You're not just running back
that's
and
right.
forth.
That's right.
So
Hmm.
that's good. Coach, it is really at the end of every season. I try to do a self evaluation, and I think I get a little bit better at the end of every year.
Hmm.
And what I have found is that keep it simple. Keep it simple. Passing is probably, in my opinion, the most underrated skill.
Hmm.
Footwork is probably the second most underrated skill. Um, and then shooting mechanics. Oh my goodness! So we get to do sport specific with the kids in the summers.
Hmm.
So the kids come in, we get them up for our hour a day, and all we did this morning was shoot.
Hmm.
We shot and we worked on footwork. And the thing, here's the crazy thing: the thing that the kids struggled with the most this morning was meeting a pass.
Wow.
Meeting the pass. So we're going to V cut, we're going to get open, and just we're real technical. The pass has to be on the outside elbow. If it's not on the outside elbow, then you're going to do it again, right?
Uh-huh.
So we're going to receive it, and we're trying to run through it. We're trying to run through the pass and keep going, curl on to the basket.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the hardest thing, to get the kids to just come and meet the
That's right.
pass. Because I know oftentimes, I know a lot of times kids go play summer ball, and I know a lot of times summer coaches would be like, man, what are they teaching y'all at high school? And I'm gonna just be honest with you. We trying, man. We trying.
No, I get it.
We
I get
trying.
it.
And the crazy thing, and this is, I tell my parents this, Chuck. I tell my parents this. 70, and that might be a low number, 70% of the kids that get to us in 9th grade are already behind. They're already behind. And then if they play volleyball, they'll come to us as freshmen out of volleyball season. They've missed the entire preseason, where we're just trying to teach footwork, and we're trying to teach them how to move at a high school pace.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got 7 days to get them ready to go and do 2 scrimmages and get ready for the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
And then the season ends, and then we're splitting time with them between volleyball and basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't play summer ball,
oh man,
it is incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
And we encourage kids to play as many sports as you want to
Mm-hmm.
play, but just understand that if you're going to be successful, you got to put the work in. And unfortunately, where we are, and I'm trying to figure out some solutions to put basketballs, besides the camp that we do every summer,
Mm-hmm.
to put basketballs in these kids' hands a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Because they are set. And again, 70% might be a low number. That might be a low number.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Coach. We're about 40 minutes in. We're coming to the end. We're going to play a little game of pepper. All right. You ready for this?
All right, I'm ready.
All right. So I got some bookend questions that I'm going to ask. Okay. I'm going to start my timer after I ask the first question. And then once my timer goes off, I'm going to ask you the last question. All right.
Okay.
Everything in between those bookends is just pepper. Answer as quick as you can.
Okay.
All right, here's the first question. If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why?
It would be superpower would be to teleport.
Okay. Why teleporting?
I'm just straight to. I want to get from here. I want to get over there real quick, and
Man, listen,
like that.
I hear that. Listen, this Houston traffic will make you want to teleport all day, every day. And I'm sure coaching AAU probably make you want to teleport as well,
Yes.
especially when you get into July.
Oof. Yes, for sure.
All right. Let me start my timer, Coach. Let me start my timer. Here we go.
All right.
Here we go. All right. Yes or no questions. Pets.
Pets?
Any pets?
Yes.
Yes. Kids?
Yes.
Believe in ghosts?
No.
Can you name 10 presidents?
Yes.
Would you skydive?
No.
Do you drink coffee?
Gave it up. No.
Ever been on TV?
Yes.
All right, either or questions. Oh man, we didn't get to the either or. All right, Coach, that's the 30 seconds. All right, here's the last question. Here's the last bookend question. Do you have your own Netflix account, or are you on someone else's?
I have my own.
All right. Good stuff right there, Coach. I appreciate you playing that game of pepper with us. Appreciate you. All right, Coach. Man, we're in crunch time, Coach. We're in crunch time. So crunch time, we go 4 quarters. Well, I'm going to ask you 4 questions. Okay. And then we go 3 in the key, 2 shots, and then 1 to end it. All right, Coach. 4 quarters. Here we go. First quarter. If you could be anything other than a coach, what would you be?
Other than a coach, I'd be a real estate agent.
Okay. Is that what you do?
In the process.
Okay. All right. Second quarter. What's the easiest thing about coaching that no one really knows?
The easiest thing about coaching that no one knows is that you have to coach the person, not the player.
Okay. What's the toughest thing about coaching that no one really knows?
The toughest thing about coaching is not knowing a player's background and how they respond to adversity.
Oh, that's good, coach. That's good right there. All right, fourth quarter. Who has the tougher job, coaches or officials?
Oh my God. The coaches for sure. The coaches for sure, but the officials do take some abuse. But the official's job is to try to control the game. The coach always receives the back end emails from the parents about whatever. So definitely the coaches.
Yeah.
Definitely coaches.
Okay. Okay. Man, you'd be surprised, coach. I got people on both sides of that. Basketball coaches, I've been getting answers on both sides of that. All right, coach, that was 4 quarters. All right. Three in the key. Three in the key. Coach, give us three things that all coaches need.
All coaches need definitely a sidelines out of bounds play. They need that. They need a solid point guard because that's an extension of you. And they also need the team to buy in to whatever philosophy it is that you're teaching.
Okay. Good stuff right there. Good stuff. All right, coach, here we are. Two shots. Two shots. Two of the most foul things that you have experienced as a coach. What you got for
Two of the
us?
most foul things. Number one, during the AAU National Championship game back in 2011, when we were this was the when we were in the national championship game. My assistant got a technical. He was kicked out of the game on one technical. His wife was yelling at the official who ejected her out of the gym. And the rest of the parents was in an uproar over that ejection. So they kicked my entire family, the players' families, out of the gym during the national championship game. So mind you, we're down by 5 and I know I'm gonna cut it short. We're down by 5 points with
You
8 minutes left in the quarter. Well, no, I'm sorry, 6 minutes left in the quarter. So that lead went from 5 to 15 because the kids had checked out. Once they saw their parents leaving out of that gym, the game was over. So I think that was foul to me.
Yeah. That was definitely foul.
Yes. And we were in Cincinnati, Ohio, in Kings Island, Ohio. I'll never forget that.
Man.
And I would say the next thing is coaches allowing an older player to play in the lower division.
To this day, coaches still do stuff like that, and I have no idea why.
For sure. So,
No idea why.
mhm,
Yeah, that's foul. That's definitely two foul things.
mhm.
All right, coach. We're down to the last thing. This is and one.
Okay.
Give us one thing that you would like to share with us. Could be anything that you want to share before we go.
So one thing that I would like to share is I would love for both basketball communities, high school and club, to figure out a way to grow the game of basketball and where it benefits everybody. Um, like and I kind of alluded to it, the summer league. I just would like to see the community grow more and get involved with girls basketball and not so much have so much of a negative um, have negative thoughts and energy towards girls basketball. I just would love to see the game grow a little bit more and more people are involved, more basketball people involved, because it's all about the kids and developing young adults at the end of the day.
That's good stuff, coach. That's definitely good. We have to make sure on both
Hmm.
sides, on both sides. I had Coach PV, who's the boys coach at Duncanville, on. He was on episode 2. So y'all go check that out. But we talked about something similar. Just making sure we check our egos. Making sure we check our egos as high school coaches, right? And then also as summer coaches, because it's not about us, it's about the kids. All right, we're getting ready to wrap up. Great conversation we just had. A lot of things we talked about. Main thing is we need to figure out how we're going to bridge this gap between AAU coaches and high school coaches. Let's make sure we all check our egos and let's make sure we keep it about the kids. Listen, y'all, signing off. My name is Coach P for Coach Chuck McCown, one of Houston's finest. Good guy, real good guy. I'm telling y'all, he's one of the real ones. So, Coach, man, I really appreciate your time And I just want to remind everybody out there that coaches do what most people can't. Until next time, y'all. Peace.
Peace. Thank you.